Okay, so welcome. So tonight we'll be talking with Dr. Evan Chait, Kinetic Rehab and Spine in Ramsey, New Jersey, and it's a very, very important topic, probably one of the biggest topics out there as far as health goes, and we're going to be talking about stress, the primary cause of disease. So, Doc, just run us through, how does stress cause disease?
Well, there was a physician back in the 1950s and 60s. His name was Dr. Hans Selye. And what he found was that stress is the primary cause of all disease. And unfortunately, stress causes a lot of lifestyle challenges. Like, for example, did you know we're genetically programmed to live to 120 years old?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so our human genome, we're supposed to live to 120 years old. But if you can imagine, if I put floaties on your arms,
right,
and I put you into a pool of water, and I put a little hole in the floaties, and I start adding rocks into a backpack that you might be wearing. First rock in the backpack, you know what? Maybe you lived to 110 years old. Put a second rock, now you're down to 105 years old. By the time I get to 5 or 6 rocks, now you're at the life expectancy of 78 years old, which is the average life expectancy in America. And those rocks are nothing but stressors.
Okay. All right. So, most people think it's just part of life. So how do we know? I want to say, how do we know when we're really stressed?
Yep.
Like everybody has stress.
Everybody has stress. That's right.
But how do we know when the stress is at a point where we need to do something about it?
That's a great question. We got to break the stressors up into 3 categories. Okay. We have physical stressors, which is posture, biomechanics. It could be a nerve compression. It could be muscle. It could be ligament. It could also be veins. It could be whatever it is for physical. And most people feel pain, so you understand that relates, right? A physical stressor. And then we have emotional stressors. And emotional stressors, you'll know that those are the stressors that you're thinking about something and it creates a response. Like, I'm sure if you're watching this right now, you can think of a time that somebody, either in high school or something that happened to you in the past, and your heart rate goes up a little bit, right?
Right.
So we're the only animal in the world that could think about a traumatic event and get the same response we did when it first happened. Or we could think about the future and create the same response, being worried about something that hasn't even happened yet.
Right, you're anticipating.
You're anticipating.
Right.
And these stressors are the primary cause of most diseases. Okay. And then the third type of stressor is a nutrient deficiency or toxicity. And those are very subconscious. You don't even know you have these stressors because the body could adapt. Right. But we want to always think about the body in a state of homeostasis. So if 10 is perfect homeostasis, anything that moves you away from 10 is going to take you out of the homeostasis and make you sicker.
Okay, but let me ask you something. I know we're talking nutrition.
Yep.
But is there specific, I don't want to say, there's a million foods.
There is.
Okay, so
yep.
We're saying, is there something other than like eating organic or that's really causes stress to your body nutritionally wise? Like
yeah,
cholesterol or grease or french fries?
Yeah, That's a great question. Now, when we talk about food and we talk about lifestyle, we always want to think about, what did our ancestors do? How are we genetically programmed to live? And the further we move away from, this is where we're supposed to be eating, living, and thinking genetically, the further we move this way, so this is a 10, the further we go this way away from that, the more disease you're going to have, right? So to answer your question, how do the ancestors eat? They ate real food,
right,
predominantly fruits, predominantly berries, some meat, they ate some fat, right? So when we look at our plates, we want to be mindful of how much fruit we're having. And I like to say with my patients, you should be having at least 800 grams of carbohydrates a day from fruit and berries. So if you don't know what that is, every meal you want to have 2 fists full of berries or fruit. Now the question I get is this. So Evan, if I have all that fruit, how is it going to affect my blood sugar? And the beautiful thing about fruit, it's fructose. It does not have an influence on insulin. So even with my type 1 diabetics, they go on a fruit diet and their insulin levels actually stabilize. Because at the cell function, the insulin receptor sites on the cell improve once we have fruit in our diet. Not to mention, it regulates blood sugar, but also the gut biome, like the microbiome, the good bacteria in the gut, it helps stabilize that.
So let's say if you had a banana and an apple a day.
Love it.
Would that fulfill the requirement?
Not a day. You need to have that about 4 to 5 times.
Okay, so then you need blueberries, a cupful of that, an apple, some bananas, maybe a cantaloupe and melon.
Anything you like, any fruit you like. I'm not like
I know.
crazy about the fruit. It's whatever you like. Like my thing is, because I'm busy at work, bananas are easy for me. Yeah. All right. But then you got to balance it out with, because bananas are high in potassium, and there's this relationship between potassium and sodium. So you want to be mindful that if you have a lot of potassium in a diet, you want to have some Celtic sea salt to offset and create balance.
Okay.
Right? And so everything comes down to balance. But a safe thing to do is have 2 fruits or 2 berries with every meal. Have a lean protein source and some fat. So if we have hands,
Right.
you want to have 2 cups or 2 fruits with every meal, a palm size of protein, because that'll be about 6 to 8 ounces, and then a thumb size of fat. So lean protein, thumb size of fat.
Okay.
Okay? And so if you cook your chicken, cook it in some butter.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Some fat.
Yeah, some fat, some good healthy fat.
Okay, and how does that equate with like vegetables and nuts?
Yeah, nuts are very inflammatory. So nuts, seeds, oils,
Right.
especially vegetable oils, those are very toxic to the body. So remember I was talking about how stressor, you can have deficiency of something.
Right.
We add fruit, right? That's going to improve deficiency. But toxicities, it runs rampant. So we want to be mindful of the toxic foods we eat. So by cutting out vegetable oils, like canola oil, any kind of vegetable oil, and nuts and seeds, even nut and seed oil, those have actually what's known as monounsaturated fatty acids. And they oxidize the cell very quickly, so they cause the cell to age faster.
Okay.
And we don't want that.
So what people say you should eat so many almonds a day,
Yeah.
cashews. So you're saying that's
I would avoid them, and especially peanuts. Yeah, peanuts taste so good, but they're really unhealthy for you.
okay.
They're full of mold. And then when we're eating the peanuts, it's creating an inflammatory response. And we don't even know it because it's subconscious.
Right. No, because you hear about you
Yep.
have
Yep.
fruits and nuts and
Yep.
berries and things like this. And,
Yep.
And then let me just touch the last one is vegetables.
Yep. Vegetables.
Yeah.
Should we have vegetables?
Sure.
Yeah.
Carrots.
Okay, let's have a caveat here.
Okay.
Not all vegetables are created equal. I'm a big fan of root vegetables.
Root vegetables.
So you want to focus on roots and fruits. So if it grows in the ground, thumbs up. If it's not growing on the ground, it's going to be very difficult for us to digest. Like for example, spinach or salad or kale, very difficult to digest. That's why a lot of people, when they have those kind of vegetables, it comes out in the poop. You see it in your poop,
Right.
And you probably see this at home, unfortunately. It's because there's something known as cellulose rather, which is fiber that's in the vegetables that our digestive system, because we don't have more than one stomach, like cows have multiple stomachs, so they could break down grass, digest it, and then they could use it for fuel source. Humans can't. We only have one stomach.
Okay, so roots would be carrots.
Carrots, tubers, potatoes, sweet potatoes, right? And if you have digestive issues where you're constipated a lot, having a raw carrot a day gets rid of it.
Raw carrot.
Yeah, raw carrot a day. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'm just curious about that because everybody's like fruits, vegetables, nuts, and but they're not all created equal.
That's right. And you're probably going to ask me the question about alcohol.
I wasn't gonna, but because I don't drink.
Because I get this all the time. Can I have alcohol? Is alcohol toxic? This is a question that I'm pondering in my mind, because some of the longest lived people on the planet, on the blue zones, they drink alcohol. Like I visited Ikaria, which is in Greece. They have some of the longest lived people on the planet. I got up in the morning, I saw the same 70, 80, 90-year-olds at the cafe in the morning. They're getting their coffee. Midday, they're having an ouzo. At the end of the day, they're still at the same place having the red wine, right? So my question was, if alcohol is such a toxin to us, then why do the longest lived people drink it, right? I think it comes down to how much they're drinking, number one, but also having fruits in their diet. Because whenever we have alcohol, we're actually depleting glycogen in the liver, like stored sugars in the liver. And that's why a lot of people get headaches and hangover. But if you have wine with a little bit of fruit, it actually balances it out.
Okay, so right. So and obviously in different countries they don't eat like we eat.
Correct.
They eat more
Correct.
natural.
More natural, and also some of the wines, like the wines that I like to drink are organic wines that are sugar-free. Right. I add orange juice to my wine, which tastes like sangria. Don't knock it until you try it, but it decreases the risk of you having a hangover.
Okay.
Because when you have wine with fruit, you have the fructose from there, so you're actually balancing your blood sugar.
Okay, so that's including beer.
I'm not a big fan of beer.
Okay, but
yeah.
so you're talking alcohol.
I'm talking predominantly wine or distilled alcohol like vodka.
Yeah.
You add orange juice to it, and it helps stabilize blood sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. I'll have to have a drink one day.
We'll drink together. But again, everything comes down to moderation with alcohol.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
But if you want to enjoy yourself, now I'm into the 80-20 because I want people to live, right? I want you to enjoy your life. And I want you to be able to eat clean Monday through Friday, enjoy it on the weekend. But what's sad is this, 80% of adults have a chronic disease, at least one. Over 50% have two chronic diseases. And there was a point in time when type 2 diabetes was called adult onset diabetes for a reason, because it didn't happen in kids.
Right.
Now they had to change the name because kids are now having type 2 diabetes. It's because how they're eating, how they're thinking, and how they're moving. They're not exercising according to their genetic requirements. They're not eating according to their genetic requirements. And not thinking like our ancestors did.
Right.
Like, think about it. Our ancestors would eat, live in a tribe.
Right.
It was our culture. It was our community. That's one thing I found in Korea. It was very big into the culture and community, and they would celebrate in that community. So we lost that, and so we moved away from homeostasis to disease.
Okay.
And it's estimated that about 90% of heart disease and diabetes, 90% of diabetes and cancers and heart disease are due to lifestyle choices. That's how we eat, how we think, and how we move.
Okay, and that's a mouthful.
No pun.
No pun. So what are some of the signs and symptoms of stress? You know, it's hard. You can't. You know, people can say I'm stressed, but is there signs or?
There is, and it's a great question. There's two states of being. You're either in a powerful state or a primitive state. A powerful state is a state where you feel confident, you feel joyful. But we know under times of stress when somebody cuts us off or we think about something that's negative and our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? That's called a primitive state. When we start feeling as if we're in a primitive state, like somebody's around you that you're not connecting with,
right,
like you don't feel good about, right, and you feel the heart rate go up, that's because you're tapping into what's known as a primitive state. So once we identify that state, sometimes it happens when you don't eat enough or your blood sugar drops, you start getting heart rate, that's time when you need to eat food. For me, my hands get cold.
right.
So when I'm under stress and I'm not aware of it, and my hands get cold, I know it's time for me to eat some fruit. All right? So fruit will also stabilize blood sugar, which will reduce stress.
Okay.
There's a lot of techniques that you could do to modulate stress when you start feeling that heart rate because of somebody or something you're thinking about. But I need about a day workshop to teach people that one.
And that goes along with the next question: is how do you reduce the stressors?
Yeah. So balancing blood sugar would be one of the best things to do. So having fruits that help stabilize blood sugar. Remember, fructose does not raise insulin, so it's not going to affect your blood sugar.
Okay.
Okay.
So 2 apples and 2 bananas a day, no big deal.
2 apples with every meal.
2 apples every meal.
Yeah.
That's a lot of apples.
That's a lot of apples. I go through a bushel of bananas almost every day.
Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah. My son calls me an ape. So do my angels at work.
That's a lot of fruit.
It's a lot of fruit.
Jeez.
It's a lot of fruit. It is a lot of fruit.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd suggest don't be afraid of fruit. And don't believe anything I tell you either. There's a researcher named Ray P. He's a PhD researcher. His thesis was on how the cell functions, also known as how the mitochondria functions. And all his research is based on the metabolism of the cell. And I would do research and check him out.
Good, good. And I guess the last question is, give me some techniques we could share.
One of the first
At
techniques
home.
you could do is mindfulness journaling. So what I would suggest is when you're feeling frumpy dumpy or you have stinking thinking, bust out a journal, write down all the things you're grateful for. Because when you're either in a powerful state or primitive state, if you're in a primitive state, you can't be in a primitive state if you're grateful for something.
Okay.
So let's do this real quick. Can I do this for 30 seconds with you?
Sure, but
Let's
you're
do this.
talking about permanent, like you said you're in a powerful state.
A primitive.
A primitive,
Primitive, where the heart rate's going up.
Okay, okay.
So when we're in a primitive state, this is one technique we could do at home. All right, and you guys feel free to follow along. Let's do this together, okay?
Okay, sure.
Bear with me, okay?
I'm
ready?
ready, I'm ready.
So we're gonna put our hands on the heart, and what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in, and exhale. Good. Now put a little smile on your face. There you go. Now in your mind's eye, I just want you to repeat: thank you, 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 thank you. So when we're in a state of gratitude, we cannot be in a stress state. We cannot be in a primitive state. And the more grateful you are, most of the time, you're not going to be in that stress state. So this is one of the easiest ways. This is called Heart Math Institute created this technology. So there's a sync between the brain and the heart. So when you feel gratitude, you're in that state of powerfulness. Now let's have you come back into the room, open your eyes.
Thank you.
Do you feel a little bit more relaxed?
I'm pretty relaxed.
Yeah, pretty relaxed. I know it's tough for you sometimes, right?
It
It's
is
tough for
very-
a lot of
yeah.
people. Yeah, or like achievers, it's very difficult. Do you know what Gandhi said? I think it was Gandhi that said, I'm so busy today that I got to meditate for 2 hours.
Yeah, I get it. You have to get the stress. No, I understand. Stress is big, 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 big topic.
It is.
And so many people are being sick.
Yeah.
And I believe it from stress. So
Yeah.
I hope everybody gets a lot out of this and they'll be able to watch it quite a few times. I appreciate all the information.
Of course.
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you. It's helpful for me.
Thank
This whole
you.
segment. I don't think I'm eating 5 bananas a day, but
Well, not yet.
no. But I mean, maybe
Not
I'll go
yet.
up to 2.
Maybe 2 bananas, maybe an apple, or 3.
Yeah, well, I always eat an apple. But,
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Can I leave you with one
Sure.
Chinese proverb? To treat disease after it's already been manifested is like digging a well after you're already thirsty, or creating weapons after a war has already begun. So we want to stop disease before it even starts.
Right, makes sense. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Great information. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.